So, hi everybody. So nice to see you guys here today. I hope you guys are enjoying um, everything that Mom TO and MomFest has provided in the last 2 days. Um, I know I can't, be with you guys and we can't be in person, but this is absolutely amazing that we're all coming together to be able to share this time and listen to each other speak, share your thoughts, and just be together and support each other. Um, I'm Carmen. I am the owner and artist of Carly D. Long story, I started the company way back in 2016. And the reason why I started the company was I needed a way out and an outlet for my anxiety, depression. And at that time, I was heavily involved in alcohol and cigarettes and just anything that really would allow for me to get away from reality. So, um, fast forward fast forward to, well, back in 2016, fast forward to, no, backtrack, sorry, I'm kind of losing it. Backtrack to 2013. That's when I started to stop drinking. So, throughout, my entire life, I've had issues with alcohol abuse. Back then, it was more of, oh, I'm just partying, I'm just doing my thing. And, that's what kids do and stuff like that. But it ended up kind of taking a more serious route because I was also dealing with depression and anxiety. So that was kind of how it all ended. I've gone into a lot of trouble with the law. There are times and so many things that I regret doing, and so many people that I want to say sorry to and apologize to. But, when you think back, and I think today, the fact that, I think that and have that type of thought, I feel like they and I have already forgiven each other. I don't know if they actually forgave me, but anyways, that's kind of me from 10 years ago. In 2013, that's when I met my now husband, and my life kind of took a turn there because my body was falling apart. I was drinking a lot more. I got into a lot of trouble, but at the same time I felt like I was meant for a little bit more. I was meant for, thank you. I was meant to be impactful in a different way and in more ways than just sitting there and drinking. So now fast forward to 2020, I am running a successful business with arts, and also self-awareness, self-love and creativity and how they link together. And to tell you the truth, it does trigger me a lot. There are a lot of times when I, can't figure something out, or there's just too many things going, being a mom and running a business, that I say, you know what? I just need a sip of alcohol. I just need to relax and like get the anxiety out and just be myself and just kind of feel that relaxation and get that liquid courage going on. It's not so much the courage, but it's more that feeling of fulfillment. But it's so immediate and so short-lived. That's the only problem. I've been sober for about 4 years, and being a sober mom does come with the pros and cons. The pros is I never have to worry about whether or not when I have to pump, do I pump and dump? Do I ever need to, figure out who's going to take care of my child if I have to go out? That's I would think is the pro in my world. In everybody's world, there's a different way and a different journey, right? In my world, that's how I see it as a pro. And that could only be the fact that I can't turn to alcohol and say like, hey guys, let's have a drink, because it's just not part of my life anymore. And as the business grow, as my family grows, as a mom who, used to be on the floor pissed drunk and just don't care about anything, I see my daughter as an inspiration now. And I think that the minute she was born, I felt this overwhelming need to be there for her every single step of the way. And, it makes me emotional. And I think all moms can feel that way, where no matter what you do, no matter how stressed out you get, no matter how angry or frustrated, how much a failure that you may feel that you may be at that time in your life, you always look at your children or your partner or something that grounds you, right? This time around in my life, it would be my daughter. Sometimes my husband, he's all right, but my daughter mainly, where I look at her and I think, oh my God, if I have that one drink, and this happened to me right when she was about 6 months old and I was diagnosed with postpartum depression. And I know I'm just like a bag of mess, but so I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and that was when I felt like a failure. And I said, I can't be the good mom that I could be because I've been diagnosed and I need to go on medication. I might as well just, turn back to alcohol. What difference does it make, right? So these little things and little thoughts always triggers me, and how I kind of overcome that is really just to live in the moment. What stresses a lot of us out is the fact that we have these end goals and end games. Even as a mom, by the time you think to yourself with all these different milestones, right? By the time my daughter's 6 months, she should be doing these. And you kind of put that pressure on yourself. And that leads to different things in your life, right? That leads to anxiety, that leads to potentially an unrealistic goal. It can lead to triggers like frustration, and that happens to all of us. Those are just some of my triggers. And I know now that, if my daughter doesn't meet a certain milestone, she doesn't do things a certain way, she doesn't listen, she's 2. So she's going through the terrible 2s right now. 9 times out of 10, she doesn't listen. And 9 times out of 10, I feel that I just want to flip out and I just want to give up. But when you really think about it and dig deeper and have that grounding spot, at the end of the day, 1 or 2 things isn't, a whole big deal. If you do drink and you can drink, by all means, have one. This whole thing with the wine culture too, which I really want to touch on today in terms of being a mom coping with addiction. I think anybody, and this is just my opinion, I feel like anybody who wants to enjoy themselves, and I say this every time I go, speak on platforms and stuff, anybody who feels like they need a drink or need a night out or need to have a glass of wine or whatever, I think it's awesome. I think it's good to do that. The only reason why I don't do it is because, physiologically, physically and mentally, I am incapable to have one, and then I get, drunk. It's like from 0 to 500. So I think if you're a mom and you feel that it will help you relax at the end of the day, have a glass or 2, have a bottle. Just make sure you know your limits. I always say that, know your limits, know the balance and the boundaries. For myself, I turn a lot to my art, right? It is a passion-driven business. Recently, I did pick up a full-time job to kind of stretch my mind in a different way. There was, a kind of a stall in my business where I felt like I wasn't being motivated and passionate anymore. And those I know is my trigger. So as a mom, you just always have to know where your triggers are, right? And addictions could be with alcohol. It could be with smoking. It could be with food. Addiction doesn't necessarily mean this alcohol thing, right? So for myself, it's alcohol. For some other people, it could be, you feel frustrated and you'll down a whole cheesecake. That's also something that you have to be aware of and mindful of. At the end of the day, you want to be super healthy or be as healthy as possible, where you can be everything that you can be for your family. So I'm going to kind of stop there and I'm going to open it up to everybody in the chat. If you guys have any questions so far before I jump on to the next topic, feel free to ask away. I'll give a couple of minutes for you guys to get your questions ready. Oh, no problem. Oh, hi, Osana. Hi, Vajanti. Hi, Valerie. So Valerie, she's here with us. She is my social media manager. Say hi to her, give her a quick hello, give her a quick what's up, hi, whatever. I recently had her on board to assist me with all things to do with my social media, meaning all the stories, all of some of the posts. She manages all of that and she's been doing an amazing job. So if you guys ever need anybody, yeah, right, it is pretty amazing. If you guys need anyone, feel free to kind of manage your social media. Feel free to reach out to Valerie. She is a minimalist micro influencer, so she shares all things female related. She's very ambitious. So I hope you're not blushing, Valerie. I'm totally like hot selling you because I think you're so amazing. So if you guys don't have questions, I'll talk a little bit about what happens, um, when you feel those triggers. So as I mentioned earlier, whenever you feel the trigger, it doesn't have to necessarily be when you are frustrated. It's already reactive when you feel that way. Once you know where your breaking point is, you kind of almost have to work backwards, right? Instead of working on the downstream impacts, so the result of you feeling frustrated, you almost have to work backwards a little bit for yourself. So you really have to sit down and identify, what is it that just before I lead to that frustration, that anxiety point, just before I get to that breaking point, what is it that I can do to prevent that from happening? So it's not a one-day thing. It's not a one-day activity. It's not a one-year activity. I think it's constant. Okay. So as you grow and as you experience different things, and I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I've been through quite a bit in terms of, ups and downs in my life. I've hit the bottom. It took a lot for me to get back up, but now I'm here and I just want to share that that's kind of what I do. To be able to say like, let's prevent this from happening again and again and again. So hi. Uh, Oops, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. So basically, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm sorry. I think it got interrupted for a second. Um, can you guys all see me? I don't know if my camera's on. You can see me, right? Okay, good, good. Thank you. I'm like, I had something else going on in Zoom, and so I was like, what's happening? So anyways, as I was saying, before you get to that breaking point, move back a little bit and think about what is it that brings you to that point? Is it the words that people say? Is it, the way you look? Is it internal or is it external? Right? So a lot of times how I feel about it is there are times where I feel disgusting. Okay. I'm sure a lot of moms, ladies, can feel, I know that's a very strong word to say, but sometimes when you wake up, you just feel like you're not yourself. And that triggers me to feel that, oh my God, I need to do all these things. I need to do all these things all at once to make sure that I look decent. And as a mom, I think it's okay. I think it's okay to embrace it. Now, after 2.5 years, my daughter's 2, I literally walk out into, do groceries, do whatever without putting a lick of makeup on. And I can embrace that. The moment I was able to embrace it and say, you know what, I'm a mom. I don't have to look decked out every single moment. I don't have to live for anybody else. I am going to accept me for who I am. And that comes with the self-love part too, right? So working on that, working through that over, I'd say at least a year now, because my daughter's 2.5, I'm able to feel a little bit more comfortable in my skin. Aside from that, I also gained 110 pounds during pregnancy. So I have a lot of extra skin. I gained a lot of weight. My body completely shifted. My hair started to fall off. When I used to dye my hair blonde, it would be strong and nice and thick. Now I dye it, I have to cut it all off. So things do change, but you kind of have to figure out how you can cope with it. That's one way of coping, is to kind of go upstream, right? Hit the problem and catch the problem before it even gets to the point. I hope that was helpful. I have about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to open it to questions and then I'm going to wrap it up. I hope that this was useful for you guys in terms of doing a little bit of self-reflection, doing things that you love, right? Hanging around with people that you love. I know, Vajanti, you organize all these amazing events for, the girlfriends and your friends. Those are little things that you could do, especially during this time. It is a very unprecedented, I hate saying that word, but it is a time that's not under our control for a lot of things. And it's okay. Do what is in your control. Remember, I was saying that, what kinds of, so yes, I was saying do what you can control. And I have Catherine here. She has a question. What kinds of coping techniques have you practiced in low times of motherhood to get through them? So some of the techniques during the lowest time of motherhood is to literally, and this might sound really weird and it's gonna feel really weird, but one of my coping techniques is to sit alone by myself and not have any electronics with me and just sit there and just enjoy a cup of coffee. So no cell phones, no internet, nobody is around me. My husband probably has a daughter. That's one way I can cope, to be with myself and to be by myself and to be alone. Other people may have a different type of coping technique where they would want to hang out or call a friend. And it's different for everybody. So if that is your way of feeling relaxed, do it. By all means, go ahead and do it, and do it with all your heart. Do it with intention. Do it because you have nothing else on your radar but that. Okay. A lot of times, being a mom, during your high times, you're like, yeah, everything is great. During your low time, you're like, oh my goodness, I have this life that I am responsible for 24/7 until the day I die or they die, right? It doesn't work when people say, oh, after 18, you're good. No, no, no. Once you're a parent, you're always going to be a parent. You're a parent for life. And so during those really low times where I feel really overwhelmed, I just need to regather and regroup myself. And that's one way that I could do it, is to be alone. Other people, again, they go have a box of chocolate, they can have a pie, they can go out for a walk, really find out and try different ways to make sure that you can feel good about what you're doing, and also making sure that it works for you, because this one works for me. So Catherine, I hope that answered the question. Did I answer your question? Was that okay? I know I'm pretty broad, because I always speak based on the best practices and experience, almost like providing a pathway and a thought process for you to kind of think about, because a lot of these things are very in front of our face. Like, duh, like go for a walk, yeah. But in the heat of the moment, during your really low times, you almost don't think about it. And you turn to things that are a really quick, easy fix. It's immediate, it's good. Let's get it over with. Let's get a hit of that dopamine and we're good, right? Um, yes. And so mostly focusing on times, was mostly focusing on times when you're very stressed and used to turn to, okay, yeah. So that's the high, right? So during really stressful moments, that's when I say, okay, you know what? I give up. I give up. There's nothing to live for. I'm very dramatic. There's nothing to live for, so I'm just gonna drink, or I'm gonna go out with friends. I need a hit of that dopamine. What happens with me is chemically, my brain is not chemically balanced, and with the alcohol and the stimulant that comes through, it gives me a hit of these dopamine and the euphoria and the utopia that I get. But when I drop, I don't just drop to a normal level. I drop to an even lower level. So people normally have their alcohol, do their pie, do their cake, do whatever. They get a really good high off of it, and then they go back to normal, right? And everything is good. They feel good for a bit until the next hit of, your low time and your stress. For myself, I go back down. I go down here. So I don't go back here, I go down here. And so basically, sorry, I have a bit of a cold too. So basically, that it is when I turn to it, but you have to make sure you know yourself, in terms of whether this stimulant or this thing that you turn to is going to bring you back to a nice level, or is it going to bring you back down to this level, or is it just going to be a momentarily thing? Being here is obviously the best that you want to be, where you're balanced and you're stable and everything is good. But when I'm really stressed, there are times when I think, okay, I'm going to have a sip of alcohol, or I'm going to do this just to like feel good for the moment. It's never going to be for the moment. You'll never just feel good for the moment, because after that, your guilt your conscience starts to kick in, right? Things that you're not, things that you're not prepared to do, and you do in the heat of the moment. So a lot of times what I do is also being able to kind of sit in a room and reflect, but also being able to step back a little bit. A lot of times we just react, stimulant, react, stimulant, next best thing, get the high. Oh, now I'm down, stimulant. And it's just kind of like a vicious cycle. So for myself, I know that I need to step back. If my daughter really makes me angry and I'm really stressed out, there's a billion things going on, and she just won't put on her pants. You know what I mean? Moms, you know this. They just can't put on their pants for some reason in the morning, and it's like the end of their world. So I feel, even those moments, I feel, oh my goodness, I wish it was like drinking time, but I really have to step back and say, okay, this can't happen. I cannot let my daughter be like this, feel this way, nor can I feel this way myself. So what I'm going to do is let's talk it out, right? So by me just stepping back a little bit, I'm able to say, okay, this is how I'm going to be a better parent. That's kind of everything that I wanted to share during the session. Again, just take care. Make sure that you take time for yourself. For new moms, it's okay to drop it off to your parents, have your husband wash them, whatever the case is. Don't feel guilty, because that's a lot of the the stress that I put on myself in the beginning. And again, when you're stressed, you trigger those emotions, and then you want that immediate fix and that high, right? So, and if you do, again, I say this, it's almost like a standard disclaimer. If you feel that you are, drinking a little bit too much, doing things a little too much, it could be with eating, it could be with sex, it could be with anything that is at an excess, please, 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 and I mean this, and please don't be afraid to share it with somebody that you feel the safest. I see here Orit. She said, "Hi, Carmen. I'm an addictions and mental health counselor myself. I have worked with so many moms throughout their addictions." So, like I said, in these platforms, here is where you're going to find your tribe, your network of people to be able to talk to, a very private and trustworthy source. If it's your friend, if it's your mom, by all means, just talk to them about it. Just open it up, open the discussion, have the conversation, because a lot of times being addicted to something, a substance, or an item, or a thought, or a feeling, comes from being mentally stable and capable of overcoming that in some ways, right? So, we have a counselor here, we have all the great moms here. I hope you guys continue to enjoy this platform and enjoy this event. It's all things amazing, all things mom. And I really encourage, if you do ever feel that you are too stressed and you're doing something excessively and you feel like questioning it a little bit, right at that moment, start talking to somebody professional, like a counselor. We have Orit here, so you can always reach out to her if you feel that way. Talk to your family and friends, a trustworthy person. Do not, and I mean it, do not Google your symptoms on the internet, because what we do is we like to link and label. What we read, we automatically think, oh yeah, that's me too. So you start self-diagnosing. So before you do any of that, please talk to a professional. You can understand the terms and the effects, but do never, ever, ever diagnose yourself medically through the internet. Okay. I went through a psychiatrist, and I went through medication and very strict monitoring for an entire year with specific drugs to get off alcohol, so that I don't have liver issues, as well as a heart attack and seizures. So that's pretty serious. And if I was to ever diagnose myself with being an alcoholic, which I never would, because I was in denial, it would have been a very dangerous spot for me. So that's one thing that I want to make sure that you guys understand and know. Outside of that, enjoy your day. It's rainy, but it's fall, so it's pretty. Put on your rain boots, look at some leaves. And it is 12:30, so I am going to end this. And I hope to see you guys soon. Follow me on Instagram at Carly Paintings, and follow me on Moms East. I am the lead for Moms East as well. So I hope to see you guys soon. I'm going to type it out right here in the comments, at Moms East and at Carly Paintings. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed and got some nuggets out of this. I love you guys all. Thank you. Bye.